Hello everyone. Welcome to the class of Transportation Engineering 2. So in the last lecture we have discussed the uh, module of sleepers. That is, it is one of the major component of P-way as you know. So after discussion on sleepers, we'll be taking the next component of the P-way, which is also this thing, also an important component, that is ballast. Okay. So here are the topics which would be covered in this particular lecture, that are ballast, introduction to ballast, then functions and requirements, then the types of ballast, then design of the section for the placing of these ballast, then certain terminologies are there, and after that formation will be discussed. So let's start with ballast. Okay. So as you all have seen ballast actually lying on the railway track. So basically it is the layer of broken stone or gravel or muram or any other gritty material which is placed and packed below the and also around the sleeper for distributing the load. Okay. Now this load distribution is from the where does this load distribution take place? From the locomotives or the rolling stock, the load comes to the rails. From the rails, it is transferred to the sleeper. Then further, the sleeper transfers this particular load to the ballast. And from these ballast, they absorb certain vibrations and shocks, and then they uh, transfer the load to the formation. Okay. Plus, also these ballasts are useful for providing drainage as well as providing longitudinal and lateral stability to the track. So these are all the red marked phrases in the slide. These are all the important this thing, important purpose or the purpose which these ballasts serve on the railway track. Okay. So if you, in other words, you want to understand, it's not necessarily by this definition. What you understand is it's not necessarily the aggregates which you use. Okay. If you have seen the ballast, you might have seen that the ballast resembles quite similar to the aggregates which we use, the granite aggregates which we use in construction or making up of concrete. Okay. So it need not to be the aggregate itself, but since being the most suitable materials, those broken stones or the aggregates are used over on the Indian railway tracks. Okay. Otherwise, you can, in place of those ballast, you can use these broken stones, other broken stones, or you can use gravels. Sometimes muram is also used, or any other gritty materials which can be placed over there. But those all those materials have a disadvantage. Okay, the disadvantage is being lighter or in weight, or being having smaller particles. They actually come on the track itself. Okay, and when once they are on the surface of the rails, they'll be providing certain friction between the rolling stock wheel of the rolling stock and the rail, and therefore it will be deteriorating the surface of the rail. So therefore, in that way, what will happen? Rail defects will be arising. What kind of surface rail defect? The surface defects will be arising on the rail. So therefore, we may avoid the making the use of gravels. Okay. Now, next thing is the function of ballast. As we discussed in the first slide also, they maintain the level and alignment of track. They provide level and hard bed for sleepers. Then they help you to hold the sleeper in position. They also transfer and distribute the load to comparatively wider area. Then they provide elasticity and resilience to the track. Then they provide longitudinal and lateral stability to the track. Also, one of the most important factor, that is they provide effective drainage. Okay. So these tracks, you can place them directly on the ground surface itself, or else you can embed them in some other surface, or you can put over soil. But that soil or any other material will not serve these last three purposes, that is providing lateral and longitudinal stability and providing effective drainage. Okay. Now these are certain requirements which should be considered while selecting a material for ballast. The ballast material should always be tough and resistant to wear. Then it should be hard enough. It should be cubical with sharp edges. That means the elongation index and flakiness index should not be too high or too less. Okay, it should be in a between a nominal value, that is near around 15%. Okay. then it should be non-porous and non-water absorbent. Once because it will if it will absorb water, then there will be a problem in drainage. It should resist attrition. Attrition is what? Abrasion. Abrasion कैसे find out करते हैं हम लोग aggregates के लिए? You all have done testing in the transportation lab. That is, how do we test for abrasion? Test the aggregates for abrasion. We make the use of Los Angeles apparatus. Okay, so this is attrition. Then it should be durable. Then these ballast materials should have a good drainage ability, and they should be cheap, economical, and easily available in the local area. Now let's talk about types of ballast. The most commonly and most widely used on Indian railways is the broken stone. Okay, these broken stones are actually procured from hard stones like granite, quartzite, hard trap, etc. Why these stones are used? Because these stones are uh, perfectly economical in long run. Okay, since although they are not that much of a scrap value, but still being this thing, what you can say is being a residual material. Okay, since whenever you will be finding stone quarrying factories and all, okay, so from there if you'll procure this materials, it will be quite economic in long run. Okay, so 50 size ballast for flat bottom sleepers and 40 for metal sleeper is actually used while we make use of broken stone, which is most abundantly used in Indian railways. Then the second type of ballast is sand. This sand or gravel, it was mostly used for CI pot sleeper, that is cast iron pot sleepers, which were having two pot sleepers attached with the help of cotters and tie bar. Okay, these are specifically suitable for low traffic density areas with wooden and steel sleepers also. These sand ballasts have a good drainage property, but coarse sand is preferred in this particular case. Okay. Now there is the disadvantage we discussed earlier of using sand ballast is that it causes excessive wear on the rail tops and moving parts of the rolling stock. Why? Because even with a slight amount of push or air or any other circumstances, it will be uh, lying, or it will be coming on the between the tracks and the wheels of the rolling stock. Okay. Next is your blast furnace slag, which is also known as cinders. This particular blast furnace slag is specifically used in yards and sidings. Why this is used in yards and siding? Because in yards mostly what happens is the shunting operation is there. So providing उससे क्या होगा, shunting operation होने से the second conclusion क्या होगा? If there is a shunting operations, or basically in yards what happens, the trains first they do not move at a high speed. Secondly, most of the trains are or you can say the rolling stock is empty. That means neither they are carrying passenger nor they are carrying any kind of goods. Even if the goods trains are there and they are carrying goods, for example, if the unloading is being done before unloading when they arrive in the yard, those trains are required to be run at a very low speed. So therefore, we make use of this blast furnace slag over there, because being not much of attrition resistance, they will be serving good purpose over there. Okay. Then this is also used as initial ballast in new construction. Okay, when the construction material is not available there, so initially हम लोग वहाँ पर blast furnace slag put up कर देते हैं. Why? Because it is cheap and easily available. It is a scrap material from saying iron extraction industries. But the disadvantage is that it is corrosive. It is quite harmful when we make use of steel sleepers and fittings. Okay, so therefore only specific areas are suitable for the use of blast furnace slag. Okay, next is your type of slab is muram. Muram is initially used as ballast in new construction, or it is also used as sub ballast. Okay, it prevents water percolation when it is used as blanketing material on black cotton soil. Okay, there are other certain types of ballast which are gravel, river pebbles, concord, etc. Okay, or sometimes brick ballast also. But brick ballast is not used that much. It is very rarely used. Because why? Why brick ballast would be rarely used? Because of its hardness or toughness, you can say. Okay, because of its brittleness. Okay, basically bricks are what is the nature of brick? They are brittle. Okay. Okay. So how the comparison between the type of ballast is done? These the comparison on the various types of ballast which we have discussed. This is done on the basis of the following properties, or you can say the following parameters. First is drainage property. Then cost is also helpful in deciding the type of ballast. Then packing material, whether for the suitable type of track or the suitable type of sleeper, the packing density could be achieved or not. Then wear and tear resistance. Then stability and resilience property of the track also governs the various selection of the comparison of the same type of ballast. Then maintenance of the track is also one factor. See, here is a figure or a diagram that shows what the ballast shoulder. Okay. So here you can see for broad gauge, ये जो छोटे छोटे letters में लिखा हुआ है, for broad gauge 3.35 meters distance up to a 3.35 meter distance, the ballast shouldering would be done. For meter gauge, it is 2.25 meter. For narrow gauge, it is 1.83 meter. Okay. Next is important topic, that is ballast cushion. Ballast cushion is basically whatever amount of ballast is placed between the two sleepers and underneath that. That is known as ballast cushion. This ballast cushion has a certain depth of cushion. Like जब तुम लोग हाईवेज पढ़ते थे, तो हाईवेज में जब हम लोग लोडिंग कंसिडर करते हैं डिजाइन के लिए, तो वहां पर तुमने क्या पढ़ा था? एक ESWL, दैट इज इक्विवेलेंट सिंगल व्हील लोड. ठीक है. तो अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट इक्विवेलेंट सिंगल व्हील लोड क्या होता था? There was a certain depth up to which the overlapping of both the tire pressure or the load due to both the tires was taking place. तो जहां तक ओवरलैपिंग होती थी वहां पे, प्लस जहां तक सबसाइड होता है लोड, वहां तक हम लोग डेप्थ कंसिडर करते थे. Similarly, based on the pressure distribution, over here also minimum depth of ballast section is calculated. So minimum depth of ballast section is calculated as what? It is half of the difference between sleeper spacing and width of the sleeper. Okay. The sleeper spacing is taken up from center to center. Okay. So basically, the minimum depth of ballast is given as based on the pressure distribution, that is half of the center to center sleeper spacing minus width of the sleeper. Okay. Okay. Now, what are the factors that control the depth of ballast cushion? These factors are the axle load which is coming over the ballast, then the size and shape of the sleepers which is going to be applied in the P-way track. Okay. Then size and shape of the ballast also governs the depth of ballast cushion. Then degree of consolidation, up to what degree of consolidation it will be compacted and consolidated, that governs the depth of ballast cushion. Then also the formation level. Okay. Based on the formation level also, ballast cushion is governed. How the formation level will be there? अगर आपका formation level कम है तो ballast cushion ज़्यादा provide करना पड़ेगा. अगर formation level ज़्यादा है तो ballast cushion कम provide करना पड़ेगा. Okay. Then specification of track ballast. What are the specification of track ballast which should be this thing kept in mind while considering the ballast? That is quality. If we talk about quality of track ballast, it should be hard and durable. It should be free from inorganic and organic residues, and also inferior and harmful substances. Okay. Then there is shape. If we talk about shape of track ballast, it should be cubical and not be flaky. Why? Because flaky stones will be easy to will be prone to breaking or disintegrating or crushing, which will be ultimately doing what? It will be affecting the ballast shoulder as well as the ballast cushion itself. Okay. And proper early maintenance will be required. Okay. Then there is manufacture. The manufacturing of these track ballast should be how they should take place. It should be machine crushed, not hand broken. Why hand broken is not used? Hand broken is used, but only where only in the cases where the route is either not planned or not sanctioned for conversion. That means जहाँ पर route तुम्हारा इतना ज़्यादा busy नहीं है, या or you can say in other words less important route. जहाँ less important routes है वहाँ तुम hand broken aggregates या hand broken ballast use कर सकते हो. ठीक है. Okay. Next is physical properties of ballast, track ballast. Okay, so for broad gauge, the track ballast which is used has physical properties as follows. Abrasion test value, it should be the maximum value is 30% and relaxable to 35%. Then impact value should be maximum value is 20%, relaxable is 25%. When we talk about elongation and flakiness index, as discussed earlier, the maximum value should be 50%. Specific gravity and specific gravity should be minimum, it should be 2.65, and water absorption should not be more than 1%. Okay, so these are the basic physical properties which should be which we should ensure before selecting and using the track ballast for broad grade. Talking about size and gradation of the track ballast, the designated size is actually 50 millimeter universally. Okay, then retain while we designate the size and gradation, the gradation should be such that the amount of aggregates retained on 65 mm should not be there, or in case if they are there, maximum 5% is allowed. Okay, then amount of aggregates which should be retained on 40 mm, it should be between 40 to 60%. Amount of aggregates or track ballast which should be retaining on 20 mm, it should not be less than 98% for machine crushed and not be less than 95% for hand broken. Okay. Next is method of measurement of the track ballast. The measurement of the track ballast is also important on the PVA track. Why? Because based on these measurements, you will be deciding whether there is a requirement of replacing or reviving the track ballast or not. Okay, you might have seen a certain special wagons along with the train which are used to stack up the this thing, the shoulders. Okay, the shoulder ballast. Okay, similarly there are trains which are used to trolleys and trains which are used to stack up the ballast cushion. Okay, so all these maintenance problems, they will be dealt only when you are able to measure the track ballast. So measurement is done by the following technique, that is stack. For the first one is stack measurement. When we talk about stack measurements, you all must have, while traveling through the train, you all must have seen on the adjacent sides of the railway track, you might have seen certain ballast, they would be stored. How they will be stored? They'll be stacked somewhere. So the stacking has to be taking place at a certain a certain measurement, keeping in mind certain measurements. These measurements are like top width and height of the stack should not be less than 1 meter. The side slope should not be flatter than 1.5 to 1 meter, and cubical content should not be less than 30 cubic meter in plains and 15 cubic meter in hilly areas. Also, the stacking of the track ballast should be done at neat and plain ground with a good drainage. Why? Because if drainage is there, it will be ultimately causing weathering action on the ballast. Okay. Then comes the wagon measurement. There are trains, or you can say rolling stocks, okay, which are used to transport and convey the ballast. So while measuring while measuring the stacking in the wagon, there is a white line painted inside the wagon to indicate the height of loading. Then it indicates the cubical content also, that should also be painted and punched at the sides itself. Okay, so these rolling stock, special kind of rolling stock which are used to carry the track ballast, they have certain sluice walls which when opened, they open certain sluice gates, and these gates, when they are open, the track ballast will start falling on the sides which are at a particular angle, which will be directly dropping this the movement while this operation of the movement of the train is quite slow. Okay, so in that case what will happen, the track ballast will be dropping at the designated place itself, and therefore shouldering will be done very easily. Okay. Now, when we talk about ballast compaction, there are certain terminologies which are very important and you should know. That is, the very first one is packing. Packing is basically compacted ballast cushion which is laid below the sleeper as per the gradation. Okay, this also depends upon the type of gauge which we are using. Then the term is there that is known as boxing. This boxing is basically relatively loose ballast which is placed on the sides of the sleeper to provide them lateral stability. Okay, so जो sleeper के नीचे आप provide कर रहे हो, that is what, that is packing. जो आप sleeper के side में adjacent side में जो तुमने देखा होगा shouldering कर देते हैं ends पे, ठीक है, वो जो stacking provide कर रहे हो, that is was the placing of those ballast is known as boxing. Okay, here is an image. Okay, in these four images you can see how the machines are used for stacking up of or placing of ballast this thing, track ballast. Okay, the first machine this is a spreader which is used to stack up the track ballast on the sides as well as the center also. Okay, second one is a machine which is used to position the sleepers basically. Third one is again the this thing, side view of the first machine, and fourth image is actually showing the sleepers along with the ballast cushion. Okay, so ballast cushion is placed first, ballast cushion is done first, then the sleepers are placed, then the rails are placed, fastening is done, and then after that packing and boxing is completed. Okay, now all these components, that is the rails, the sleepers, the ballast, all these rest over what, over the important carrying parameter, that is formation. Like in highway we were having subgrade and formation, over here also it is quite important to have a formation. In highways they could be directly constructed over the subgrade soil itself, but over in railways, whenever we talk about the construction of railways or P-way track, every subgrade level will be having a certain formation level. Okay, so this formation is basically provided to constructed to provide smooth and uniform bed for the laying of track. Okay, may it be any type of ground, but somewhere somehow you might not be, you know, having such smooth and uniform bed. So therefore, uh, what we do is we construct this this thing, formation. Okay, once this formation is constructed, a smooth and uniform bed for the laying of track is provided. Okay, secondly, to bear the load transmitted to it through the section of ballast, then to facilitate the drainage, then to provide stability to the track as well. Okay, see the rails, uh, the stability to the rails are provided by fastening devices and sleepers. The stability to the sleepers is provided by the ballast, and the stability to all these three components, that is rail, sleepers and ballast, it is provided by the formation. Okay, so all one by one structure is laying beneath one another and providing stability to each other. Okay, now this formation may be in embankment form or by excavating the ground also. It is not necessarily that the formation should be above the ground level. This height of embankment or depth of cutting depends upon the ground conditions of the field that is to be considered and the gradients which are adopted on the designated route. Okay, then side slope would it depends upon shearing strength of the soil and angle of repose of the soil. Okay, then width of formation, it depends upon number of tracks and gauge of the track. If the number of tracks are more, the width will be more. Similarly, if the gauge of the track is more, the width of formation will be increased. Like for example, broad gauge, it has a bank width of 6.85 meter and cutting width of 6.25 meter. For double line, this bank width increases to 12.155 meter and cutting width, it is increased to 11.555 meter. Okay, the slope of this formation of for embankment is 2:1, and of cutting it may be 1:1 or even uh, half is to 1, that is 0.5:1. Okay, or even steeper than that. So this basically depends upon the gradient as well as the ground condition. Okay. Now there's one more thing, that these side slopes should be turfed either by cohesive soil or using grass so that the erosion could not take place so easily. These embankments should be up to or more than 6 meter high. Okay, up to 6 meter high, so that the earthwork should be carried out manually in layers not exceeding 30 centimeter thickness. Okay, this earthwork is carried out for a height of up to 1 meter below formation and exposed to one rain season. Okay, these are the readings which you can refer for the topics in this particular video. Thank you so much. We shall meet in the next lecture.